Maybe one of just the regular messages. Is that what?
The presentation. I'm
Okay.
going to share my screen.
Okay.
Josh, do you mind making me host? I don't know.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah.
All right. You should be able to now.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Wonderful. So welcome everyone to our meeting today. We do have a few new or returning participants from our San Fernando Park who have been with us since we were at the parks, but now here in the virtual setting. So welcome, and welcome to anybody else who is new. So what we are going to do is I'm going to go over the agenda. I will be explaining just a little bit more detail for our new participants coming in. We're going to be talking about Strava. Strava is an app that we started implementing to our participants where you can keep track of all your workouts, your walks, your runs. If you do yoga, if you do Pilates, if you do gardening, you can use this app and it keeps track of your activity. And it's kind of also nice because you can socialize with whoever is part of our group. We do have a group on Strava called 365 Journey to Health. And you can see everyone who is signed up, basically everyone here, and you can see their activity and you can see pictures and what they did, where they ran, where they walked, and hopefully to inspire you a little bit more. So we keep track of all the miles that we accumulate and we see where we can go around the world with those miles. Then we have challenges, much like we did when we were in the parks, but now it's virtual. We just had a challenge last weekend with Coach Chris. So we'll go over the recap of the challenge and then introduce the new challenge that we will be having for April. Then Chris will go into his education for tonight. And then we will reiterate some important dates that are coming along this week that you can utilize, such as the Facebook Lives. We have a Zoominar, all these cool resources that you can come and join us with. And then finally, we have family time. So as everybody knows, if you are in Let's Get Moving, you can rename yourself LGM. If you're in Active Lifestyle, you can rename yourself AL. And if you're in Performance, you can put P or Performance on your name. At the end, Josh will put us in breakout rooms and we will go into smaller rooms where we can have different discussions. Kathy, I don't know if you remember if you were in Let's Get Moving or Active Lifestyle or Performance. Performance would be essentially the top program. Active Lifestyle is the middle, and then Let's Get Moving is the, I guess, first, or the first tier. So without further ado, I will go into Strava. So let me see here, my computer's going a little slow. Okay, so Strava, like I said, is an application that we use to keep track of our miles. So right now in that group, we have 110 members, which we have reached our goal. Thank you everyone who has signed up for Strava. So we had a goal of having 110 members. We have reached it. So now we're going to amp it up to have 120 members. So this is a great application that you can tell your family and friends to join. It's completely free. You don't have to pay for it. And hopefully it motivates them to start moving and start their journey to health. Since the beginning of the year, we have accumulated 2,376 miles, which is pretty cool with everyone's activities. So where are we in consideration to, let's say, Northridge or CSUN? If we go north, we're in, and I apologize, probably butcher this name, to Nagai National Park, Canada. So that's if we go north. If we go east, we're in Alligator Lake, North Carolina. If we go south, we're in Parque Nacional Patuca, Honduras. And if we go west, we're swimming in the Pacific Ocean, but we are 91 miles away from Hawaii, which is pretty cool. We're almost there, almost there. Almost laying on the beach, relaxing, you know, one less worry in the world. So with Strava, what is cool is that we have this leaderboard where it keeps track of every week and everyone's activities during that week. So we have a leaderboard here, as you can see. We have Cassandra, Josh, Meredith, Bree, Maritza, Irma, Kate, Tim. I know I'm missing a little bit more people, but they have Christina, Gary, Deborah, Saul, Mackenzie. They have all accumulated their activities, their longest distances, the times, and they have made it onto the Strava leaderboard, which is great, a great inspiration for everyone. If you did not make it onto the leaderboard this week, don't worry, keep going. We are so proud of you for any type of activity that you do, as long as it is on your journey to health. So congratulations to those who are on the Strava leaderboard. Next, our small little recap of our challenge. We did have a challenge of Lift and Shamrock On with Coach Chris this past Saturday. He had a special Facebook Live. These are just a few of the pictures that I collected from our Strava. So as you can see, you can post your workouts, you can post pictures. We had a challenge of everyone wearing green if they could. You can see my daughter here up in the corner doing her push-up. So she did contribute to our challenge. If your picture is not on here, your activity is not on here, don't worry. We do have a new challenge coming up, but we did have a challenge of also trying to have 30 people on that live. We're just shy. We had 18 people live with Coach Chris. Still a great turnout. So thank you to those who were able to come on live with us and work out with us. Again, if you couldn't make it, don't worry. We have a new challenge for you next month, April 17th, and it's Spring into Yoga with instructor Bree. She will be doing a special Facebook Live Saturday, April 17th at 9 a.m., where she will be doing her amazing yoga flows that she introduced to us last week, which is beautiful. So thank you, Bree, for doing that. So it's super exciting, a new type of challenge. So you have all day to complete this, as always. Another goal again is to have at least 30 of us live that day. Right now we have 65 here on Zoom. So that's just half of us can be there Saturday, the 17th at 9 a.m. Mark your calendars, make some room for you, make some space and time for yourself. Take a picture, and as Bree likes to say, smile throughout the whole challenge and just have fun and learn to move differently. So I hope you can all make it. I hope you're all excited for this new challenge. And I will pass it on to Chris for our education tonight.
Thank you, Arlene. Just to give some more information on why it is we do this education for those who are new is, if you've ever been to one of our parks, this is kind of like the Healthy You initiative we had, where we would give small talks on how to make your nutrition better, how to avoid diabetes, how to find those 150 minutes when you can't make it to the park. So this education is somewhat like that. We provide you with tips, tricks, and skills that will help you reach your journey. And our reoccurring theme this year has been making sure that each one of our education topics connects. The last few weeks, we've been talking about the importance of posture and proper breathing and moving through movement correctly and becoming efficient at that. And with that, we're going to start our next series. As you can see on the slide, we're going to be talking about the importance of recovery. So this week, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of insight, some minor details into each of these topics. And in the coming weeks, we will be going in depth into these topics. So you can see on the screen, foam rolling. We've been advertising that we're getting our new foam rolling routine, and we're getting those videos out to everybody. So foam rolling and stretching are an important aspect to recovery because it's great to help the muscles relax. It helps the muscles lengthen. It brings them to a nice width, and it increases the potential for blood flow into these muscles. So foam rolling and or stretching is something you want to include in your recovery process. And now I bunched those together, so we're going to jump into point number 3, which is sleep. And sleep is an important and often overlooked aspect of the recovery process, just because we live really busy lives. We always have a lot of things to do, so we often say, oh, if only we had a few more hours in the day. So what we're compromising there is our sleep, and sleep gives the body dedicated time for recovery. So, we work out and the body starts the recovery process immediately afterwards. But, as you continue through your day, those muscles are still being used. So they don't get proper recovery up until the point that the body goes to sleep, because now these muscles aren't working. There's certain mechanisms in the body that are turned off. So now the body dedicates its time to recovery, and we need those hours. We need to heal before we go out into our next training session. Another important one that's often overlooked is the nutrition. Now, nutrition is so important just because as we work out, we use certain aspects of protein, we use certain chemicals like calcium, we use sodium, and a good nutrition plan provides us the building blocks we need to recover and make sure that our muscles are getting all the protein, all the nutrients they need to rebuild. We're refilling the body, replenishing. So as Eli mentioned, abs and all gains are made in the kitchen, not just the weight room or however you're exercising. And the last one would be a dedicated recovery day. Now, a dedicated recovery day doesn't mean that you don't exercise. It just means that you do movement with the most minimal resistance possible. We like to call that active recovery. So instead of going out for your run on a dedicated recovery day, perhaps you go out on a 20-minute walk, or you ride your bike. You find a leisure activity that keeps you active but isn't forcing you to work really hard. And with that, we're also going to start trying to sprinkle in some sports psychology, some sports mental health into our meeting. So with that, we're going to move into the next aspect of our education, where we're going to be talking about, drum roll as we wait for the screen to change, mental fatigue and burnout. So this is a concept that may be new to most of us. And it's something that I'm really passionate about because it's so easy to forget to pay attention to ourselves. So with that, what is burnout? And burnout is a psychological syndrome that's caused by a state of either emotional, physical, and or mental exhaustion from an exposure to prolonged stress. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wait, I think we're all at that burnout stage right now. A lot of us have been tied to our homes. A lot of us can't go out right now. We're not doing the things we normally do. So to a degree, we've all have experienced mental fatigue and or burnout in the last year throughout this pandemic. So it's important to talk about, and we're gonna try to keep it to the most correct way we can talk about it, which would be the terms of fitness, because that's the most qualified, at least I am, and a few of my other colleagues are, to be able to talk about that. But if you ever have any other issues, we can help get you some help, but we can't advise that. So how does burnout affect us? Burnout tends to put us in a state of mind where we're constantly tired, we're upset, we're annoyed. It leaves us unmotivated, it leaves us mentally distant, and it leaves us in a room or a mental space where we have a lot of negative thoughts. And that is different for everybody. Burnout does manifest differently for each person and the individual feeling it, but in the sense of what we're talking about, let's say you're new to fitness and you decide that your SMART goal was going to be to work out 30 minutes every day. And at the third week, you're like, man, I have to work out. I don't want to do this. Even just the thought of it is making you like either annoyed or unmotivated because you've been working out for 5 days out of 5 days every week. So at least in the terms of fitness, it usually leads to a lack of motivation. You don't want to work out. It could potentially lead to injury too, because if you're pushing yourself to work out in an unmotivated state, the likelihood of injury goes up because you're just doing the movement to do it. you're not paying attention to the form, and bam, you're injured. So it's really important to pay attention to how the body's feeling and what it is you could do about it. So with that, sometimes we don't even know we're in burnout. And if we probably wouldn't have talked about it now, most of us probably wouldn't have thought about the fact that the pandemic has created a sort of burnout that is mainly mental, because there's so much news, there's so much stuff going on. You're constantly on your computer, you're mentally fatigued depending on what you're doing. So I think in the last year, a lot of people have been really good at ignoring those physiological signs of being mentally distant, feeling tired, feeling emotionally unavailable, unmotivated. So with that, our next slide is going to be talking about some simple things we could do to combat the mental fatigue and burnout. And again, drum roll as we wait for this slide to change. There we go. Some simple solutions are sleep, self-care, and removing yourself from the stress. So sleep and self-care are two of the easiest ways to combat mental fatigue and burnout at the early stages of burnout. So as we talked about it, sleep is important because it improves, well, it allows you to recover, but it also improves cognitive function, lets you think clearer. It provides you with space to clear your mind. I know that sounds weird, but sometimes we go to bed with thoughts in our head and we don't get to physically rest because our brain is still working. So we want to find sleep or a state of sleep where we're not thinking. We're go to bed with a clear head so we can wake up with a clear head. And self-care as well. I don't want anybody to think of self-care as stuff you see on social media where you need to, you know, spend money on face masks and treat yourself to a spa day and things of that nature. Self-care is essentially simple, but self-care is doing something for yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally for your health. Now, what that means is physically, if you see yourself feeling burnout from sitting at home 7 days a week for 8 hours at your job, um, self-care in that aspect is making sure you go out on a walk, because it's very easy to log into your computer, clock in at work online at 8 o'clock, and then look up and realize it's 2 o'clock. You've had 3 cups of coffee, you haven't eaten anything, and you haven't taken a break. So you need to be really aware of that. You need to be conscious. That's one aspect of physical self-care. Mental self-care is taking mental breaks, because we're working hard on our computers, we're doing whatever we're doing. Find an activity that allows you to be mentally released from that stress or stressor that you're dealing with. For me recently, that mental stress relief has been trying to play the piano and the guitar. I'm not very good at it, but I sit down for 20 minutes at a time every day and try to figure it out, and it's mentally relieving for me. That's my mental self-care. And then emotional health, we don't get to see many people lately. Emotional self-care is calling your friend up, and I know that doesn't sound like much, but having a conversation with somebody you haven't talked to may help you in that emotional state. And you never really have to talk about your problems, but you could just check up with somebody and have a lively conversation. That is another form of self-care. Now, what happens when we find out about the burnout too late, and sleep and self-care isn't enough? When that happens, we have to physically be removed from the stressor. So let's say that your stressor and your burnout is coming out from working out 7 days a week. We would have to cut you down from the amount of workout sessions that you're doing. So, and even then, this translates to work and things like that. You need to be able to remove yourself from the stressor completely to be able to start to mitigate those problems of burnout. And with that, once it's too late, or once we find out that it's an evolved state of burnout, we need to start learning coping mechanisms, things that help reduce stress, whether, again, it's meditation, removing yourself from stressful situations by saying, I don't have the time to deal with this because of my either emotional state, my physical state, my mental state. These are important things that we neglect. And with that, I just want to know if anybody has any questions on what we just talked about. You could drop those in the comments. You can unmute yourself and ask a question if you've been feeling this, anything of that nature. And if not, we can move on to talking about the important dates and moving into our family rooms. It looks like nobody has any questions. So with that, Arlene, we'll hand it back to you for the important dates.
Thank you, Chris, for that education. It's so important to find time for yourself and find things that make you happy and find things that are fun. So with that being said, I am going to give everybody some homework this week or for next Tuesday is I want all of you to do something that is fun, something that is just genuinely fun. When was the last time you said, oh my gosh, that was really fun? Was it when you played Uno? Did you play hide and go seek with your children, grandchildren? Did you go for a bike ride? Did you walk through the sprinklers? Did you garden? Something that is just genuinely and truly fun for yourself. I want everybody to do this week, whether it takes an hour or 5 minutes or something. Don't even schedule it, just do it. Do it for yourself and see how good that feels. It's very much needed. It's been a heavy week. So many things going on. So I leave that to you for homework. And next week, I want all of you to share that in your family rooms of what you did was fun. And I want you to actually say those words. That was fun. So speaking of fun, we have our important dates. Tomorrow, I will be doing a Facebook Live at 6 p.m., which is going to be very fun. I hope that you can all join me in doing that, get a workout in, clear your mind, relieve some stress. You know they're fun, you know I have good music, so I hope to see you there tomorrow, Wednesday, March 24th. Also, Thursday, March 25th at 1 p.m., we have a Zoominar with Dr. Mark Stevens, where he will be talking about sweating with a purpose. A great Zoominar that I hope you all can join or revisit. It will be recorded and posted up on our website. Then Friday, March 26th, Jake will be doing his Facebook Live at 10 a.m., Couch to Strength. And then, of course, we're all marking our calendars for our third challenge of the semester, Spring into Yoga, with instructor Bree, April 17th at 9 a.m. So I hope you're all excited for the events coming up this week. And without further ado, we will go into our family rooms. If you have not yet renamed yourself, please do so that we can get you assigned to the proper room.
We are all good. All righty, everybody, I'm gonna open up the rooms. You all are in.